Once there was a prince who had everything the moment he wished for it. He wanted a companion, so one was brought to him, built exactly to his liking. He wanted admiration, so the whole kingdom was ordered to sing his praises. He wanted wisdom, so every book in the land was rewritten with his name on the cover. He got everything, and he lived proud and satisfied until the end of his days. The end. Did that story move you at all? Did you find yourself rooting for him? If something in you resisted that ending, it's because there was no ending at all. No struggle, no change, no cost. And a story without cost isn't really a story. It's just a wish granted. Real stories aren't about the treasure at the end. They're about who you have to become before you're allowed to hold it. Every tradition has a name for this idea: karma, fate, cosmic balance. And no story captures it more simply than The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. If you haven't read it and plan to, this is your spoiler warning. The story follows a young shepherd who spends his days wandering the Spanish countryside, sleeping in that same abandoned church, watching stars through the hole in its roof. His life is simple: food, wine, his sheep. Then one night, he dreams of treasure buried near the Egyptian pyramids. He tries to shrug it off. Dreams don't mean anything, he tells himself. But the universe doesn't let it go. A fortune teller confirms the dream is real. An old man he meets on the road tells him the same. So the boy sells his sheep and crosses the sea into North Africa, chasing a dream he can't explain. It goes wrong almost immediately. In Tangier, a stranger tricks him out of every coin he has. He's a foreigner with no money and no way home. To survive, he takes a job in a small crystal shop, cleaning glasses for food. What starts as survival turns into something more. Over the following year, he learns the language, reshapes how the shop displays its goods, and turns a failing business into a thriving one. He's comfortable now. He has money, a skill, a life. Have you ever noticed how comfort has a way of arriving right before a dream is finished, as if testing whether you actually wanted it? That's exactly the question the story asks next. What do you do when comfort shows up before the work is done? He chooses the dream. He joins a caravan crossing the Sahara toward a distant oasis. The desert doesn't make it easy. The heat is punishing, and a tribal war is unfolding somewhere in the sand around them. Along the way, he meets an Englishman chasing his own version of the same treasure, a legendary alchemist who can turn ordinary metal into gold. They reach the oasis. It's lush, alive, a genuine sanctuary in the middle of nothing. There, the boy meets Fatima, a woman as grounded in the desert as the palm trees around her. He falls for her instantly. She tells him something that changes how he sees love entirely. Real love doesn't ask you to give up your path. It waits for you to walk it. Then the alchemist himself appears. He sees something in the boy worth guiding: sincerity, maybe, or the stubbornness to keep going. He teaches him to listen past fear, to read the world's quiet signals, and eventually to attempt something that sounds impossible, to become the wind itself. Before that lesson is finished, they're captured in the middle of the war zone. Their gold is taken. Death is 3 days away, unless the boy can prove what the alchemist claims he can do. What would you do with 3 days left to prove the most impossible thing anyone has ever asked of you? He has no idea how to turn into wind. But when the moment comes, something in him gives way, not magic exactly, more like surrender. He feels briefly that everything around him is the same single thing he is. A storm rises. It sweeps through the camp and vanishes as fast as it came. His captors, stunned, let him go. He reaches the pyramids. An omen, a small beetle, shows him exactly where to dig. He starts hands in the sand, certain this is finally it. Instead, he's caught by a group of men who beat him for trespassing, demanding to know what he's doing there. Bleeding, barely able to speak, he tells them the truth, that he crossed a desert because of a dream about treasure at this exact spot. Their leader laughs at him, calls him a fool for crossing the world over something so flimsy as a dream. He mentions, almost as an afterthought, that he once had a similar dream himself: treasure buried under a tree beside a ruined church somewhere in Spain. Then he walks away. Lying there, the boy understands. That church is his church, the one he started in. The treasure was never in Egypt. It was under his feet the entire time he was dreaming about somewhere else. Here's the question worth sitting with. Why did he have to go at all? If the treasure was always home, why send him across a continent to learn that? Because the treasure was never really the point. As Coelho puts it, the real reward isn't what we get, it's who we become getting there. The boy who left was a boy who followed sheep. The one who came back had crossed a desert, built a business, lost everything twice, fallen in love, and briefly become the wind. He wasn't just closer to the treasure. He was, for the first time, capable of holding it. This mirrors an old story told long before Seelho ever wrote a word. A son who demands his inheritance early, wastes it completely, and returns home with nothing but humility. His father celebrates his return, not because the son achieved something, but because he survived becoming someone worth welcoming back. Anything given without being earned tends to curdle. A fortune inherited too early. Insight gained through a shortcut instead of experience. The psychologist Carl Jung warned about exactly this, that wisdom arriving without the work behind it isn't wisdom at all. It's just information a person isn't ready to carry. We live in an era built almost entirely around skipping the desert. A student can have an essay written in seconds instead of struggling through a draft. Endless stimulation is one tap away. The grade improves. The dopamine hits, but the muscle that was supposed to grow from the struggle never does. When was the last time you actually finished something the hard way on purpose, when a shortcut was sitting right there? There's a story from Anna Lembke's Dopamine Nation that captures the other side of this balance. A young man named Drake, struggling quietly with drinking, gets pulled over and could easily have paid his way out of the consequences: money, a good lawyer, a clean record. Standing in front of the judge, though, something in him refused to lie. He told the truth, and the truth cost him his license, mandatory classes, a heavy fine. Years later, sober and rebuilt, he calls that costly, humiliating moment in court the most important thing that ever happened to him. He paid the price up front, and what he got in return wasn't just sobriety. It was becoming someone he actually respected. That's the same exchange Santiago makes in the desert, just in a different costume. Every easy shortcut we take today is a debt we quietly agree to pay later. Every hard thing we choose instead is a debt paid in advance. So maybe the real question isn't what treasure are you chasing, it's what are you willing to become in order to deserve it. Here's one way to start answering that today. Take one thing you've been avoiding because the shortcut felt easier, and give it your next hour instead of your next scroll. That's it. That's the whole desert crossing, 1 hour at a time. If this kind of story is something you want more of, that's exactly what this channel is here for: one book, one idea, one journey at a time. Thanks for watching, and remember, the treasure was never really the destination. It was every step it took to get there.